Oh, Vikram, your teams has shown up.
Just give me a second.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We are going to get started here in a few minutes, letting everyone join in here. Thanks everyone who joined in right at the top of the hour here. We'll give folks a few more seconds or minutes to get onboarded here, and then we'll get started with Vikram and Kimball. In the meantime, if you do have any questions as we go along, feel free to use the chat or the question and answer session. We have our 4 panelists who will be monitoring this, so we'll make sure that we can get things answered. All right, I think we're sitting in a good buffer here. So my name is Will Kramer. I'm the partner marketing manager with Chef and now part of Progress. I'd like to introduce Vikram Ghosh and Kimball Johnson to speak with everyone here today about what the acquisition of Progress means for you as partner organizations. So with that, I will mute myself and hand it over to Vikram.
Thank you. Thank you, Will, and welcome everyone. It's always a pleasure to be with you. Today, we're going to be covering 3 things. Firstly, we're going to talk about Chef and Progress, what makes us super synergetic, and more importantly, what does it mean for you? The second thing we wanted to talk about is where does Chef sit within Progress? A lot of times when acquisitions happen, companies get acquired for the technology, for the go-to-market, and that often raises a lot of questions around the future. And we wanted to share with you a little bit about where Chef sits within Progress and, again, the implications that it has for our business going forward. Finally, we also wanted to talk about technical enablement and a skills validation program that we were building out way before the acquisition was announced. And we wanted to share that with you, along with some new product news that will go out tomorrow. And that part of the conversation is under our mutual NDA and under embargo till about 8 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow morning. With that, let me talk a little bit about Chef and Progress and what does it mean for you. But before I go there, a lot of you have had questions around Progress. The first question that I had in my mind and my phone started ringing the moment we announced the acquisition was, who is Progress? Who are these people? What do they do? And effectively, Progress is a trusted provider. And when I say trusted, they are a 40-year-old company headquartered out of Boston, Massachusetts, which means they've been around for a long time. And there are very few tech companies who've actually been around for that long. So they're a very trusted provider of products to develop, deploy, and manage high-impact business applications. They started with the Progress database, So if you are somebody who grew up in the 90s, you would probably remember Progress databases. They then went around and made a bunch of acquisitions. Um, at least I grew up with a little bit of software development, and I used to use a tool called Fiddler. I was pleasantly surprised when during our conversations, uh, they mentioned that Progress has Fiddler as an asset that they own. So they develop, deploy, and manage. What does that mean? It describes the breadth of coverage that Progress as a company provides. Uh, you know, 1,700 plus software companies that use Progress products to build their software solutions, which means Progress is at the heart of powering a lot of software that the world uses today. More than 100,000 enterprises run mission critical applications based on Progress technology. And my apologies, I am, for whatever reason, still seeing Teams notifications come onto my screen here, uh, but I'll try to remove them as and when they keep coming up. I spoke about the tool called Fiddler. There are more than 2 million developers that use Progress products. And there's a ton of business applications out there that is powered by Progress technologies. Uh, as a company, they are traded, or Progress is traded on NASDAQ. PRGS is the stock symbol. They finished their 2018-2019 fiscal year at $380 million. They're looking to grow to 430 million by the end of their current fiscal, which is fiscal 19/20, which finishes off end of November. They are also a company that invests significantly in products. So if you look at it, 21+% is a pretty high percentage of their revenue that gets invested in R&D. And by R&D, I mean core product engineering that helps drive sustained customer value. More than 1,600 employees the world over. That is almost more than 5x of what Chef was, and 17 offices across the world. And for those of you who've visited our Seattle location, yes, Progress is going to be retaining our office here in Seattle. So if you think of it, Progress products are used by a variety of organizations, all the way from, I would say, online businesses such as eBay to traditional companies like Fiserv. And the commitment that Progress makes to their customers and partners is that everything that we have, people, technology, experience, innovation, and investments, are here to take you from where you are today to where you want to be. That's the commitment that Progress, the company, makes to all customers as well as partners. Now, a lot of questions came up around why Chef? How does this make sense? And these are a couple of slides that first of all explain the world and then talks about where Chef sits within Progress's worldview. First of all, if you go back and look at developers, back in the day, there were just two kinds of developers: front-end developers, back-end developers, and they would work with a bunch of UI people called designers. Then, as the world started adopting DevOps and moving a lot faster, there was a new function called DevSecOps that started interacting with developers as part of the evolving business applications teams. And more recently, you see data scientists becoming a key part of that business applications team. So this is what a modern business application team looks like. Now, this is a slide that we stole from Progress's decks around modern application architecture. And if you look at the left side of this slide, there are three key businesses that Progress talks about: adaptive experiences, the cognitive cloud, as well as connected data. So these were three key product investments that they had made. Last year, they went out and acquired a company called Ipswitch that has a great product called WhatsApp Gold. And WhatsApp Gold gives them the ability to be able to manage and monitor applications. With that, they introduced this new pillar called operational assurance. Of course, every time you're talking about operational assurance today, DevSecOps becomes a key portion. And that is where Chef comes in and helps out the existing investments that Progress has already made. But great, all of this is awesome. But what does this mean for you as a partner? Now, if you remember, last year or early this year, we announced our first ever partner program here at Chef. And that partner program, if you remember, was designed to provide you with a much better structured engagement that you would have with Chef the company. Remember, when we introduced the partner program, I told you that what we were aspiring to do was to move from commitments made by individuals to a commitment made by the entire company, and thereby a structured engagement program of what you could expect from Chef the company. Together with Progress, we are aiming to put a lot more emphasis and a lot greater structure around that engagement that we have. And at the same time, being agile as well as nimble in how we work with you. The slide on the far right is something that we took from Progress's already established commitments to their partners around these four E's: engagement, empowerment, expansion, as well as excellence. Ultimately, what this means for you is a commitment made from a much larger publicly traded company than a 300-person company that Chef was. And with that commitment also comes durability. At Chef, we were a 12-year-old startup. Progress is a 40-year-old matured software company. So it gives a lot more durability into products, into commitments that we together make to the ecosystem around us. If I was to move to the next slide, this talks a little bit about how we're going to be structured going forward. But before I dive deeper, you would notice this new logo. This new logo is something that Chef and Progress announced as the acquisition closed earlier this month. You would not realize that, but we closed the acquisition on October 5th, and you would probably already start seeing emails from us with the progress.com email ID. This logo is something that we announced to the world as the acquisition closed earlier this month. This goes on to show that we're still retaining the Chef brand, and Progress is a small portion of this Chef brand. What this also then goes out and highlights is how we are structured within Progress. So Chef becomes the foundation of a brand new business unit within Progress. This business unit, for those interested, is called Core C. And we come with our own product team, engineering team, product marketing, sales, customer success, as well as partnership teams. What this also means is that our partner program that we announced, how we work with you, does not change. You can still go to chef.io/partners and use the same partner program and the partner portal that you're used to from Chef. Over the next few months, we are going to be making substantial investments and improvements into that partner portal. And we'll touch upon that a little later in this deck today. But when we first came out and started defining how Chef the company wanted to work with partners, we said there are three things that are of paramount importance to our relationship. First is driving customer success and making customers successful. Second is helping you differentiate your business and your practices that you're building around Chef. And the third was using the first two to be able to tell our mutual story together to the world and thereby drive leads and opportunities for you. Those three bullet points or those three pillars continue. Further on, we had told you that we are invested in building up greater partner capability. And we touched upon that when we said the best measure of capability is customers and customer success. And what I wanted to do is to share out a brand new program that we built on those lines. In addition to customer evidence and case studies, we're investing in capable and innovative technical staff within your respective organizations. But we also recognize that in a world which is largely work from home today, and people are being asked to do a lot more while the world around them is changing, there is a need to be able to balance a bench of qualified people with proven expertise with the time that people spend on training and on enablement for themselves. With that, what I'm going to do is invite my colleague, Kimball Johnson, who spent months building out this brand new skills validation program. Kimball, on to you, please.
Thank you, Vikram. It's really good to be able to share all this. And Vikram, you probably want to quit Teams, by the way.
Yeah.
It's really good to share this to us because, as you said, we've been working on this for a long time. Now, it was about a year ago when I wrote a blog post talking about how we had taken down the existing certification program for a lot of reasons around that. And that was basically we had this system where it was very out of date. It was very difficult for us to maintain and update due to the way it was. And it was also very difficult for people to actually participate in. You had to book the exams well in advance. They were all proctored, which was, especially in this all work from home environment, it's very difficult to get to us to the state where you're going to be acceptable by the proctor. We've been seeing news stories about how this has been difficult for school children that are following the same rules, and it's no easier for adults. And we felt that was too restrictive and too much of a barrier to entry. And what we want to do is we're, as with this saying on this slide here, we want to have people be able to prove their skills and experience very, very easily. And we don't want this to be something that is with a huge barrier to entry, because quite frankly, if people are cheating on this, they're going to be found out so quickly. It's going to damage the reputation of the company that employs them. And so they're not going to tolerate that anyway. So there's no point in us trying to put overly restricted capabilities in order to do that, because it's going to just be naturally handled. So if you go on to the next slide, please, Vikram, and I'll talk a little bit about how this is going to be built out. So we've talked about Learn Chef, and we launched the new Learn Chef platform, which is built on the industry standard OpenEdX back in June. And with that, we also launched the new system of the Chef badges, which is built again on an industry standard open badges that allows you to very easily share those badges, and built into the whole standard is this backwards validation. So if somebody is sharing their badge on LinkedIn and you can click on it, if you know their email address, it validates that is true, and it will show you the evidence that we have granted them to say that that's the case. And so we're building upon that platform with this skills validation program that's going to be shared with the badges platform. And we're starting with the Chef Principles Award. Now we've been testing this with one particular partner for a little while, and it's working really, really well. And we're going to get this properly launched in the next couple of weeks with an additional exam component. And you'll have to do this. You have to pass 5 core Learn Chef courses. These are the courses that cover the basics of all of our product suite, so that when you've got this, we're able to say, yeah, these people understand the basic principles of the Chef products, which is really important for partners to be able to show that they have these staff with that ability to be able to just generally work with customers, etc. And so you'll have these 5 courses, and then this knowledge test that will be sitting in the same platform. When you want to take it, you'll just be able to sign up and immediately take it. It'll be a timed exam, and then if you get it right, you'll get the Chef Principles badge will be awarded automatically within a few minutes. So that's that first stage that's going to become, and I say that's the vast majority of that. Those courses are available now. And then the additional exam will be ready in the next couple of weeks. The next stage of that, which is going to be we're going to be building it out next year, and we'll have more detail on exactly when next year, in the early part of the year. But that is going to be what we're calling the Chef Product Specialist exam. So there will be an exam which will be multiple choice for some of it, hands-on components. We're looking to build a similar experience to we had with the old platform, where you actually have to write Chef or Habitat or inspect code. They're going to be timed, and we're going to have them so that you get the detailed knowledge of these products, but not to the extent of expanding the products or anything. We're going to do that in a separate program, but the understanding of how to implement these products for your customers in detail. And in the cases of Automate, also understanding the importance of how you scale those products. That's going to be part of the testing and examination. Now, obviously, to support this, we need more training material. The training we've got isn't going into enough depth yet, so we need to build out more training material, and then we'll need to build out that exam program. And again, these exams, we're not expecting them to be difficult to take. It'll be a very simple method of being able to sign up online, pay for the exam, or use a code that's been provided by Chef for complimentary exams, and then take them immediately. Again, not having to schedule long in advance, no problem with proctors or issues like that. It'll be, again, very easy to access. As well as this, and I say this is coming further into the future, we want to also understand that there are cases where there are customers that are going to need much more detailed expansion work. So they're going to need more than just understanding how to implement the products as is. And for those, we're going to have the Chef developer specialists. Now, this is, again, still very early days, but I wanted to make sure it was shared with you so you had an idea of what's coming in the future. But that will, again, be the same kind of idea, but comes talking about extending Chef Infra and extending Chef Inspec and getting into the depths of the detail of Habitat, so that you're able to have, as in a higher even level, you can have a small group of your consultants that will be able to say, look, we can help you build out the details of able to build work with anything you have. Start inspect scanning on things that we don't directly support, but you would yourself support internally as your consulting firms, to allow people to understand that. And obviously, again, lots of content to be built out of this, but the products have these capabilities, and we want to make sure that people are able to be certified in using these capabilities to their full extent. If you go on to the next slide again, and we'll just cover, which I suspect a lot of people will know, this is the Learn Chef platform that we have at the moment. It's built on, I say, the industry standard Open edX, and we have a bunch of courses available, some coming soon, including the Chef Desktop course, a little bit to get people to understand how the Chef Desktop product works, and that course is expected to be released in the next week. And on top of this, we're also going to be adding in additional courses. We've got a course on using Git and GitHub that's going to be launched in a few weeks, and we've got a course on using Ruby. We're wanting to build out this so that it's more than just a platform to learn about chef products, but also a place where you can come together for all of the product, any kind of related technologies as well. And we're going to expand even further into making sure that there's detailed courses on how to implement in a particular way. So, for example, there's a series of courses that one of my colleagues is writing called Habitat in Practice, which is going to be how to use Habitat in a particular area of a particular type of software product or what have you, which should help support the people that you're working with, so that rather than the people you're working with just buying and building products directly, you're able to support their journey, so you are together able to have a really strong relationship. And so when you're explaining and building out products for people, they're understanding in detail what you're doing, and so they have a greater trust in you as well. I think that's everything I've got, Vikram. So if there's any questions or anything, please put them in the chat and we'll answer them.
Thank you, Kimball. And yes, there was a question from Pradeep that actually sets up very well for the next topic. But everyone, feel free to use the Q&A portion of the Zoom link to be able to ask questions, and we're here to answer them for you. So, Pradeep, thank you so much for that question around embargo till October 28th. Why are we using the word embargo, and what are we announcing? So obviously there are some announcements that we are making, and I would love to share that with you around what is it that we are announcing tomorrow morning. We had spoken to you about our new Chef workload aligned solutions back at ChefConf, which was in May or June of this year. We had announced two new products. We had announced Chef Compliance and Chef Desktop. We're going to be building on top of those two workload aligned offerings, and we're going to have a new offering tomorrow that we're going to announce called Chef Infrastructure Management. Effectively, what Chef Infrastructure Management does is allows people to deploy and manage infrastructure at scale. Along with that, there's another new offer that we're going to be announcing tomorrow called Chef Application Delivery. It's a workload aligned product to be able to define, package up, and deliver applications. Third thing that we are announcing is enhancements to Chef Compliance that was already announced. Both the detect or audit SKU as well as the audit and remediate SKU. And what we're going to be announcing tomorrow is the ability, much greater ability, to be able to scan cloud targets. As you know, the number of cloud resources which are non-virtual machines, non-IP addressable, is growing leaps and bounds within customers' cloud environments. And we're looking to add further capability into Chef Compliance to be able to scan all of these cloud resources, and if there's anything that is deviant, go and remediate it. In fact, we already have a customer, a large ERP manufacturer out of Germany. You can guess the name, who recently beta tested this product for us and was able to scan and remediate more than 8,500 cloud resources in a matter of hours. And finally, we're going to be talking about the Learn Chef Skills Validation Program that Kimball spoke about a little while ago. Now, as I'm talking about this, I'm sure there would be questions around how can you learn more? And what are the slide deck or the specific slides that we can share with you? Of course, as soon as it goes live tomorrow, and as we are sending out a recap of this webinar, we will take off the under NDA and embargo so that you can use this slide deck and also use this in your customer and social outreach. This is more than just a rename of existing product offerings. This is also content that we are adding on top of these workload aligned offerings. So things like specific compliance profiles or specific, in case of infrastructure management, would be cookbook. And that is going to be added on to the Chef infrastructure management offering. Now, let us see if there are any other questions. If not, let me move over to the next slide. And I wanted to talk a little bit about what has happened in the past and what is coming and what can you expect from us in the next few months looking forward. So we first announced the acquisition of Chef by Progress on the 4th of September. We also did a partner webinar on the 24th of September where we spoke about Chef Desktop as well as Chef Compliance, and at a very high level touched upon the acquisition. On October 5th, the acquisition formally closed, and at this point, you would have received a notification from Progress Legal that informs you of your existing relationship with Chef. If you're a reseller partner, you would also have received our new W-9s as well as our new bank instructions. And today, we wanted to talk to you about a double click on Chef's acquisition by Progress and also the new Partner Skills Validation Program. Over the next month or so, we will be talking to you about new SKUs across this workload-focused offerings that we have just, or we will be introducing tomorrow. So these SKUs will be available to you over the next month. On November 17th, we will have another webinar where we deep dive into these new product offerings, walk you through what this means for existing customers who have a license with Chef and how they would be transitioned over to the new offerings, and also the new SKU structure with these 4 workload aligned offerings. In December, we are still debating on the topic for the partner webinar. But as I said, there is nothing that gives us more joy than to hear about your successes that you're having with end customers. So between now and December, if you want to highlight any stories to us, any stories around how you made our customers successful or your customers successful by using our products and technologies, we would be all yours. In Q1 of 2021, we're going to talk about our revamped Partner Kitchen, the partner portal that I alluded to a little while ago. And hopefully that makes our business interactions a lot easier. If you haven't already noticed, we put up a bunch of partner-specific resources, sales collateral, enablement resources that you could use for your own teams, as well as for customers that you want to target on the Chef Partner Portal. But that's available as a Google Doc today. We want to make sure that we are able to build out and share with you a world-class asset library, as well as a bunch of enablement and business management resources within the Chef Partner Kitchen. So Pradeep, I see your question. Yes, we are porting the partner agreement to Progress, and I will follow through on why you have not received the W-9 as well as that letter from Progress, and we can absolutely come back to you with that. I also wanted to make sure that any one of us who hasn't received that notification from Progress Legal, is able to highlight that to us, feel free to send us an email at partners@chef.io. That email address still works, and we will be ported over to Progress. In fact, we will still receive emails in our Progress mailboxes from that email address. So feel free to send that to us if you haven't received the notification that I alluded to. Along with that, at any point in time, if you want to reach out to any one of us, either on the partner team or on the sales team or within Progress leadership, feel free to use this link. And we will also be sharing out this link after the webinar. And Will, if you want to put it on the Teams, on the Zoom chat, that will be awesome. So that any one of you could request a meeting from anybody at Progress, and we'll be happy to facilitate that for you. With that, we don't have a lot more questions. I don't see anything on the Q&A tab. If there's anything else that we could help you with, feel free to reach out to us or unmute yourselves and ask us those questions. And thank you so much, Kimball, for all your work on building out the skills validation program on Learn Chef. I think there's a question from John. You're raising your hand.
Can you hear me, Vikram?
Yes, loud and clear, sir.
Awesome. Great. Hey, thank you for this update. No, I just had a quick question on the infrastructure management offering and the application delivery offering. You're going to go into those more in depth later, but just how are they different from your current offerings, right?
Got it. So at the highest level, and let me just go back to that specific slide. All right. So at the highest level, what we realized was we used to provide a bunch of Lego blocks to our customers without even a set of instructions to be able to build something out of it. It was a pretty big box of Legos that we would provide to customers, and we would leave it to our customers to go figure out what they want to do with it. Over the last decade or so that we've been around, we started observing some patterns and some anti-patterns. So we took those patterns and we converted them into specific workload-based offerings. For specifically the tool that was earlier called Chef, now called Chef Infra, we realized that customers want to manage their infrastructure deployments with Chef Infra. And they did that with a combination of what was called the Chef Server, Chef Automate, Chef Infra, as well as a bunch of custom content that they would either write or rely on public sources in GitHub to be able to get these pieces of content called cookbooks. The downside with those cookbooks was there was no chain of custody. There was no assurance whether those cookbooks did what they claimed to be doing or whether they did some things that weren't what was claimed to be doing by them. So as part of Chef Infrastructure Management, we not only took the 3 or 4 products that customers use, but we also took relevant content, validated that content, and provided indemnities and warranties to that pieces of content and provided to our partners and customers. So that's what you will see going forward with Chef Infrastructure Management. Pretty similar to the anti-pattern that I touched upon. We saw our largest customers, namely Facebook and Uber, use what was earlier called Chef Infra to manage their desktop deployments. So what did we do? We took those anti-patterns. We said, there's a problem that Uber and Facebook are trying to solve with Chef Infra, the tool, but this is not quite designed to do what they have bent and twisted the tool to do for them. So we packaged that up into a solution. We made sure that we test that solution. We provide the necessary pieces of content and made it a solution that not just the FANGs of the world could use, but the large majority of our customers and partners could use without having to go through a huge, steep learning curve. Hope that answers the question.
Yeah, that gives a good intro or a good overview. Thanks. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Pradeep asked, any product integrations planned between Chef and Progress?
Not yet, Pradeep. At times we have to remind ourselves that it's probably been a little more than 20 days that we've come together formally as two corporations. There is nothing that we have discussed as yet around product integrations between Chef and Progress.
Thank you, Vikram.
All right. Any other questions? Otherwise, we can give everybody about 15 minutes back.
That sounds good. Thanks everyone for joining us. We will be sending follow-up emails later today or early in the morning when the recording gets processed. We'll also make sure to include a link to the deck, which will be lifted from the embargo, as well as the link to the form to submit questions to Chef in Progress. So I think with that, we will call it, and thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you, everyone.